fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car.
What mine?
Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Batman's Discussions. So, 2 months from yesterday, we will see Rebel Moon Part 2, and I am so excited. Hopefully, I'll see it earlier in theaters. And thank you, Darth Plato. Good Austin designed it. And let's see, who else do we have in the chat today? We got Socks. What up, Socks? DC Talk with Extended. What up, Rock Talks? Oh, Sin Havoc. Well, since I'm not going to call you out anymore, since I know you want to kind of hide in ambiguity. Can't say that word. Ambiguity. Oh my God, I cannot pronounce that word. Since you want to hide there, I won't directly call you out anymore. But if you know, is all I'm going to say. And what up, Floyd Lot? Yep, it is going to be Batastic. Don't shoot me, though, please. And what up, Geek Defense Initiative? And, oh, Josh Herrera. Thank you, Josh. I would appreciate it. So, yes, as Rebel Moon Part 2 comes out, we continue the hype series on this channel, reviewing all of Zack Snyder's movies. And today, we are going to review Zack Snyder's other Netflix original movie, Army of the Dead, which is fitting because there's a tiger named Valentine, and it was just Valentine's Day. I watched it recently, was on Skywalker's Watch Party, in the chat, but I was watching it along with them. So I figured now would be a great time to talk about it. And today's guest, I'm really excited to have this person on, very unfiltered thoughts, and actually, I'll be doing an X-Men show with him starting this weekend. So be on the lookout for that. Please welcome, as I bring on, ZodWriter. How are you, man?
Hey, good evening, man. It's great to be here. Good evening to everybody in the chat. What's up, Socks, Josh, DC Talk with Extended, Sin Havoc, everybody in the chat, Darth Plato, Floyd. This is going to be a lot of fun. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. We're all welcome to have different opinions, but I think ZodWriter and I both love this movie, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down, and we're going to show you some stuff that maybe you didn't pick up on. So be on the lookout for that. And wait, so was the movie that brought me back? Oh, yeah. I hope you're doing well, Josh. I hope you're still recovering. I know that those surgeries are never fun. And by the way, guys, Facebook has still taken down his account. Facebook won't give Josh back his account. So we're spreading the word. Give Facebook all the bad publicity you want right now. Force them to get it. Make it so that Mark Zuckerberg has no choice but to personally apologize to Josh Herrera and reinstate his Facebook account.
Yeah, I might have to do something with that with AI.
Oh yeah, ZodWriter, that would be a clip. On your next I Don't Get It, do a Mark Zuckerberg clip and have him mention Josh Herrera.
Yeah, I got the clip in my head right now. He'll go on this diatribe about AI taking over everything, and oh, it's gonna be great. I already know what I'm gonna do. I already know what I'm
Oh,
gonna do.
don't do it for late night Q&A actually. Or don't do it for I Don't Get It. Do it for
Yeah, when I have Josh on for Q&A, that'd be fun. Yeah.
so yeah, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And how do you feel about talking about this movie, Army of the Dead?
Well, I'm a big fan of Army of the Dead. I've got the hardcover art book on the other side of the room. I should have pulled it out for the show, and I didn't have a chance. But I absolutely love that movie. I think it's great. I think it's true to form, unfiltered Zack Snyder. And notice how there was only one uh version of Army of the Dead. There's no two versions. There's no, one's a PG version, the other's an R version. We just got totally unfiltered Zack. And I feel like, honestly, that's what they should have did with Rebel Moon. The longer this goes on, and the more hype there is for Rebel Moon, the more I feel like we would have all been better served if we would have just got Zack's director's cuts to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides of the argument. On one hand, Netflix gets more engagement, and so it's
Yeah, but the reality is, though, critics are never fair to Zack Snyder, so he always gets shafted on the critical end. And then on the audience end, you've always got these fanatical haters who hate Zack and review bomb everything he does anyway. So I just feel like no matter what, it doesn't really matter. Whatever version gets released, even if you have three versions of the movie you're going to put on Netflix, they're all going to get panned by critics. They're all going to get panned by haters. And only those that truly support Zack and just like good movies are going to actually give it a chance and support it. So in my mind, that's where I'm kind of at, because if you notice, Army of the Dead, of all of Zack's movies, and I hope you got a topic for this one, for all of his movies, Army of the Dead, I think, is one of his highest rated, both critically and audience wise, I think,
oh really?
if I'm not mistaken. I mean, because it's I think, because even I'd say Army of the Dead was the one that where the critics were pretty, where there weren't as many biased critics. People actually liked this one. So I don't know.
Okay, well, hold on, we're not actually there yet, but well, I added that in there. So, and also just real quickly, free Sil Abdul. That's also right. Elon Musk screwed over Sil on Twitter now. I don't know if you heard about that.
I did see a little bit of it when I was on Twitter, and I retweeted somebody. I think it was Rock Talks who posted the free Sil Abdul thing, so I retweeted it. I did look up, Sil's information on that page where it lets you see, and it doesn't say that I didn't see any restrictions on Sil's account, so I don't know. I don't really know what that means at
It's
this
Sil's
point.
main account, not his geek account, not his. You might have seen his geek account active, but his main account is restricted.
Oh, okay. All right. It's his main account. So, yeah. Hashtag free Sil Abdul. Yes.
Yeah. Well, his account's still up. You can go to his profile, but you have to like hit view. So it's crazy. It's lots of social media banter with that. But
Yeah. I
oh,
don't know. I don't know if that was, I don't know if that was necessarily Elon Musk, but, uh,
I blame Elon either way.
but if you're going to blame Elon, okay, I guess.
I'm blaming Elon. I don't care. I'm blaming him.
I mean,
So I want to tell a story about Army of the Dead, like my experience watching this movie. So I watched this movie in theaters, and at the time I had a concussion from my working warehouse graveyard shift. I had a bad concussion. I was not supposed to watch TV. That was doctor's orders. But with Army of the Dead, I completely broke doctor's orders, drove to the movie theater, and watched the entire movie in theaters. Not supposed to do that at all. And I'm like, for Zack Snyder, anything.
yeah, I mean that's that's devotion right there. That then, I mean, I will admit I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it on Netflix. So yeah.
Yeah, I did that too. I definitely did that too, but also theaters and yep, Deadshot totally worth it. So I didn't really have this topic prepared. This was one I just added for ZodWriter, but yeah, I don't know. I felt like there were a lot of audience hating on this movie. A lot of
I mean,
people were.
as of right now, and I know we don't really use Rotten Tomatoes as a metric, but as of right now, it has a 67% critic score, which is certified fresh, and a 75% certified audience score. And that's really good for a Zack Snyder movie. I don't really feel like it was a Zack Snyder movie that got review bombed as much and got as much hate as a lot of the other stuff.
I have a
I felt like Rebel Moon was a personal agenda, was personal by a lot of these people. But with Army of the Dead, I don't know. It seems like Army of the Dead is a movie where he actually kind of got a fair shake. I mean, I know we love it, but
I think the reason for that though too is I think it has to do a lot of it with sell ZSL to Netflix, sell Snyderverse to Netflix. Because when Army of the Dead came out, it was all restore the Snyderverse. That was the campaign. So a Zack Snyder Netflix movie, let's just say certain powers that be didn't have as much to gain review bombing that movie. Where the problem were with or a lot of people with Rebel Moon came out at the height of Cell. So for a lot of people, Rebel Moon being a success could lead to DC on Netflix, ZSJL 2 and 3. And we know there are certain powers that be who don't want that. So I think that's a big contribution to the reason is that there's a lot more at stake now for people with Zack Snyder doing Rebel Moon than doing Army of the Dead.
yeah, I think you're right.
And that's actually one thing I like about the Cell movement is that the Cell movement is a lot bigger about hyping up Zack Snyder's Netflix projects because I think one issue with Restore the Snyderverse in hindsight was that it was like, okay, yeah, watch Army of the Dead, but it wasn't like as big of a deal for the Snyder fandom to get behind it unanimously and hype up Army of the Dead. Whereas with Cell's ESJL to Netflix, we made a point in supporting Rebel Moon. That was a big part of the campaign, even going as far as Skywalker banning the Cell hashtags. I guess technically it was the next day that Rebel Moon premiered, since it premiered early, but you know what I mean. There was more synergy with wanting Zack's DC content and his Netflix content than there was during Army of the Dead's time. So I think that's why it led to a lot more powers that be shitting on Rebel Moon than Army of the Dead. Because I'll be honest, and again I love both movies, make no mistake. But if a gun was held to my head and I was told to pick one, I would actually say Rebel Moon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think Rebel Moon is obviously more grandiose, but I just feel like in terms of what we got from Army of the Dead, that Army of the Dead is unfiltered Snyder. Now I know when we get the director's cut of Rebel Moon, it will be unfiltered Snyder because the novelization of Rebel Moon is based off of the director's cut, and I think the novelization is superior to the version that we got. But in the case of Army of the Dead, that's all Zack, 100%. No other cut. It's just the version that we got. So,
Yeah.
So
Eh,
I'm kind of, I'm kind of in the middle there. I still haven't decided what's better. I got to wait till the director's cut of Rebel Moon comes out.
That's a fair point, and that's completely fair. And I do agree, Geek Defense Initiative. I do think that is another issue too. I think Disney had a lot more to gain by Rebel Moon flopping and failing than they did for Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
Even though, depending on how things go, Army of the Dead discussions may have to be shifted to space-tastic discussions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, we all know that Zach is creating a Snyderverse on Netflix. So
Yeah. So, to once it's officially confirmed that Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon are connected, all Armyverse content shifts from Bat Dance discussions to space-tastic discussions. But until then, we'll do it as Bat Dance discussions for now. So now let's get into the movie itself. Opening segment. I'll let you go, ZodWriter, from the beginning where they transport Zeus to the Viva Las Vegas. That entire segment. What was your thought on that?
I thought that Zach is a wild man for this opening sequence. I thought that it was totally unfiltered, wild Zack Snyder. I was elated that he went as far as he did. I thought it was fantastic. I think that it was one of the best opening sequences, and he's had a lot of great. That's the thing about Zach; he knows how to open his movies for sure. I don't think the man has actually had a bad opening sequence yet, to tell you the truth.
Oh no, he hasn't. I mean, 300, Man of Steel,
I mean,
BVS.
even Guardians of Gahul has a dope opening sequence, and I know you guys are going to talk about that movie coming up. But
Oh yeah.
but like I said, we never get a dull moment from Zach when it comes to the opening sequences of the opening segments of his films.
Oh yeah. Not at all. I mean, even ZSJL, another great one. So many great openings, and yeah, I will be watching Guardians of Gahul very soon for my review with Skywalker and Good Austin. So I'll talk more about that at the end. And you know what's really funny in the opening segment? Batman kills Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't know, Zeus is played by Richard Citrone, who is Batman's stunt double, and one of the army people is Zack Snyder's Jimmy Olsen.
Yep. Yeah, there's always nice little Easter eggs in Zack Snyder's movies for fans to dissect. And it's all always intentional.
Yeah. And I love, and that segment, what's funny about that opening segment though? There's a moral, the movie has a moral to the story. Do focus with driving, do not drive distracted. Do not F and drive, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, there's that. And I thought that sequence was great. And I could tell that was something that Zach had always wanted to do. That was something an ambition of his for a film. And it just fit and set the tone so beautifully.
It did, because it's like, it really shows. Yeah, exactly. I mean, now I've missed this every time. In the opening segment, there is a UFO that I always seem to miss.
Yeah, and there's actually an article clipping that references the dead, references the events, and there's not an audio clipping, a newspaper clipping. I can't even talk. A clipping of that references the events of Dawn of the Dead. For those of you that don't think that Dawn of the Dead is somehow tied into this, according to Zach.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Because the thing is, legally speaking, I'm saying legally they cannot be connected because Dawn of the Dead is owned by Universal. Army
No,
of the Dead is owned by Netflix.
it's referenced, and if you know, you know, it's in there.
Yeah.
It is referenced, and that's all that matters. It can in our head canon, we can say that Dawn of the Dead is essentially a prequel to Army of the Dead.
Yeah. I mean, wait, I already pulled that one up. Well, it's kind of like what you said about with ZSJL, Man of Steel, and BVS Ultimate Edition being its own IP. If they do ZSJL 2 and 3 on Netflix, or when they do it, nothing else can be officially connected. But Zack can still decide in his head that, hey, Wonder Woman 2017 is canon. He just can't make a direct. So it's that same type of principle right there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I also love about the intro is just the opening, the Viva Las Vegas segment. Like, I love music. Music is always a big part of me, and that the way that the music plays during the whole like zombie killing people, it sets the tone of the movie so perfectly.
It was very gaudy and decadent and over the top and corny, and there were a lot of words you could use to describe it, just disgustingly overblown. And it's one of those things that, again, Zack does it very, very well, and it's very and I think iconic is a good word for it.
Yeah, I think it's very iconic, and what it does, it shows the characters very quickly. It shows Scott. It shows, my God, I'm so bad. I can't. It shows Scott very quickly. It shows Maria Cruz very quickly, and it shows like how people are reacting to the zombie apocalypse. Just little details, like one of the characters sees that couple that's cut, and they don't necessarily know it's a bite, but they're like, nope, we can't take any chances. Bang, bang, and
Yeah.
then and what I like about the opening segment is like in this, they actually took care of the zombie apocalypse quickly. They quarantined that thing pretty quickly because normally you don't see that in a zombie apocalypse. Whenever there's a zombie outbreak, there's always everyone's always dead and civilization's on chaos. But here, it's all because they quarantined it so quickly. You got people just you see the main character just flipping burgers in a restaurant like it's no big deal. You see people just living their lives like normal. And that's something you don't see in a zombie
It's
apocalypse
almost,
movie.
yeah, it's like something that well, I mean, I would say, to be fair, that The Walking Dead has kind of tried to do that too, and tried to normalize it to a certain extent, because you're still in the middle of an apocalypse, but you still have lives to live. You still have, things to do. You can't just, I mean, unless you want to just sit there and wait to be eaten to death, and wait to become a zombie yourself, or you want to throw yourself out there and, but I feel like the way that Zack did it is very distinctive, and he tried to show the normalization of it, tried to show, just that yes, it's something we live with, but it's not something that we're going to let stop us from living our lives, in a sense. Like it's like something you gotta, it's like a disease or a plague or a pandemic that, strikes society and never completely goes away, but you just learn as a society to live with it and carry on. You don't let it, and you deal with it accordingly. If you get sick, you take care of yourself, and then once you heal, you go back to doing what you normally do. And with the zombie thing, you learn how to kill these zombies. You learn how to kill them, and then you continue to move on. It's like second nature, because you don't see the zombies as human beings. You see the zombies as flesh-eating creatures disguised as humans, ready to kill you at that point. So it's kill or be killed, and that's what is, that's what it is. So in a way, it's like, yeah, it's normalized, and Zack did a brilliant job of normalizing that. like with the the whole the whole YouTube angle. I mean,
Oh yeah. The
you
fact
know,
that there's like YouTubers coming in and just killing zombies for views.
right, right. It's like they've normalized it to the point where you can actually make a joke out of it and have it where you're doing it just for sport, just for clicks, just for views. Another way to gain that clout, another way to get that recognition, right? And I feel like Zach was using that as an allegory for something else, but I'll keep my mouth shut there.
Yeah, best not to get too political on this channel, but yeah, I and what I like about the zombies in this movie, like the reason I transitions to just you transitioned us so perfectly to the next topic is that what I like about this is that the zombies, it feels like a more realistic way to how the zombies, how people would react to zombies. Because one issue I have with Walking Dead, even in Walking Dead in its prime, mind you, I question with the way, or they're not zombies, they're walkers technically, but the zombies basically. I question in Walking Dead, how on earth did they beat the U.S. Army? Those things move slow as shit. All you need is a couple of nukes, and those things are gone. Whereas Army of the Dead feels like a more realistic reaction. One, the zombies are a lot more competent. They're faster, they're stronger. So, first of all, I could see them not beating the US Army. I could see them actually beating the US Army quickly, but also people reacted. We have guns, we have weapons. And look, we can get all sorts of political agendas about how quickly the government reacts to stuff, whether yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing, this is a zombie apocalypse right in front of us. This hurts everyone, including whatever elites you believe in, whatever. I'm not completely touching that. I'm just saying that whatever you believe in, everyone's in danger from a zombie apocalypse. So it makes sense that they would react, that they actually reacted quickly to it. Because even if you don't, because it feels like in this movie, they know what zombies are. They've seen zombie movies or whatever, or I guess if it's connected to Dawn of the Dead, they've experienced it before.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And one thing that Dawn of the Dead has in common with this movie is the speed in which the zombies are able to move. As you pointed out, the zombies move a lot quicker in Zack Snyder's universe when it comes to this stuff than they do in Army of the Dead type, and I mean Walking Dead type, for example. And I kind of feel like if zombies were a real thing in our society, God forbid, if it were to act something like this were to actually occur somehow in a lab somewhere, uh, the problem would be more. It's more realistic in Army of the Dead than it is in The Walking Dead. I don't think they're gonna move. They're gonna move slow. They're gonna move quickly because they don't have anything impeding them. They're not worried about they're driven by their desire to feed. So they're going to move as quickly as possible. They're going to move like locusts. They're going to move like very, very quickly. And I don't see it as being I don't see it as being inaccurate at all. I think Zach is on point.
yeah, he's very on point, completely. And I really love how they do this society of zombies. So, like, we'll give Zeus and the Alpha Queen their own topic, but I like the zombie hierarchy where you have like the stupid zombies, the mindless zombies. But I like that there's different levels, that you have smarter zombies, ones where that certain guy got bitten by the Alpha and was a
Bitten
smart
by
zombie.
bitten by the radioactive alpha. Yeah.
And so I think, and that's one thing I really like, though, is that there is that different hierarchy and structure, but also they give them a bit of an origin. Is that there's implications that these things are of alien descent, which I thought was a really clever twist to it.
Well, that's one way of making it more interesting rather than saying it was just some virus cooked up in a lab somewhere, that leaked and spread to humanity and got everybody, sick with this tr- transformative zombie disease. Whereas here, if it was an alien species, that's a lot more compelling, I think.
Yeah, I think so 100% because it also feels more. It feels more mysterious. It feels more, in some ways, more realistic. Because I don't know, like I have a hard time believing anything on Earth could create something like that, but I have a much easier time believing that aliens, which again, aliens definitely exist, people. I mean, it's a vast
Well, I mean,
universe.
it's like this for to turn human beings into zombies. All you have to do is corrupt the part of the brain that makes us civilized. That's all you have to do. Once you take that away, okay, and it wouldn't be hard for a drug of some type to be created to do that. All you have to do is eliminate that aspect that allows us to be thinking, peaceful individuals. And because if you're not thinking rationally and you're just wild and great, you're just an animal. There's nothing, you know human beings are essentially animals when you
Oh, we are.
when you think about it. We're no different. It's just the fact that we have the ability to reason and to think and to but if you take all that away, okay, and you make us crave flesh and blood and all, and the only thing we're trying to do is feed. That can be, I feel like that's something that could happen just by virtue of the fact that they can create drugs like that probably already exist. So it's not so that's why I wouldn't see it as such a far-fetched thing. And I kind of feel like it's sort of like all of these zombie movies and TV shows. It's almost like they're setting us up for the possibility of, well, now if we ever have a zombie outbreak, you'll know what to do. You'll know how to survive, because we've been showing you movies and TV shows for the last few decades now. So you should have some sort of an idea of how to handle yourself.
ZodWriter, why do you have to teach people how to create zombies on live on YouTube? Now someone's gonna watch this channel. They're gonna see ZodWriter. It's like, wait, this is how I have to create a zombie, and some asshole who wants to end the world will take ZodWriter's notes, create the zombie virus,
I
and
think it's
now
already. I think it's already done. I think it's already. If they've already done it, we just haven't. We just haven't seen it. I mean, there are a lot of drugs out there that do a lot of things that turn human beings into inhuman animals. So I'm not. So I don't really think that it's. I don't really think that it's far fetched. Not that it will happen, but just that I wouldn't be. It's not something that would shock me if it ever did happen. If it were to happen, I wouldn't. I'd be more like, oh well, yeah, it was like Integrity 101 likes to say, it was inevitable. So
yeah, well, hopefully, if it does happen, it'll be like Zack Snyder, Army of the Dead, where we take swift action and quarantine people. Because one thing I like about this movie is the tone. Is that it really, we were kind of talking about this earlier with the zombies, but the zombies really help set up the tone for this movie. Just the way that people are reacting to this movie, the fact that again that people are living in a normal society, like seeing stuff like YouTubers going sneaking in the quarantine zone and sneaking in and shooting zombies for clicks. That's something people would totally do in this day and age.
yep, yep, yep. Zach hit the nail on the head. If zombies existed in our world, if zombies existed in our world, that world that you see is exactly the tone for which things would be. Because human beings aren't gonna let something like a zombie outbreak stop them from living their lives. As human beings, we just learn to adapt. And that's what Zack Snyder is showing in the movie, that humans are adapting to this adversity in society, and zombies are a pretty big adversity if you ask me.
Yeah. Oh no, they are definitely they are. And I mean, not being able to go outside or having to worry about being bitten by a zombie, that'd be terrifying. I mean, look, I'm trying to be careful how I word this because again, we're talking about how we adapt to stuff like this. Of course, the thing that comes to my mind is COVID, is because that's just the most recent thing that happened. And I don't want to get too political because I know people have their own viewpoints about what it is, what we should have done, yada, yada, yada. But the point is, we adapted. We found ways to adapt and live our lives until we could get to a point of quote unquote normal. That's what we do. That's what human beings do. In fact, I mean, actually, let's be fair. When Army of the Dead came out, it was a pandemic. I saw it in theaters during a pandemic. It's probably why theaters were so receptive to get a Netflix movie was because they needed films. So I don't know. I know Zach didn't plan COVID when making this movie, but it's certainly I think kind of worked out in his favor.
Wasn't there a movie like that? Wasn't that the movie called wasn't the movie called Jennifer's Body with what's her name? The woman from Transformers, Megan Fox?
I'm not surprised.
Am I confusing that movie with another movie where she was a zombie? I don't. I'm trying to think of, in terms of what Sox was saying there, but I don't know.
He made me think about that one character from Bob's Burgers, Tina. It's one of the
One,
children in Bob's Burgers. It's like she even has a zombie fetish at times. So just got me thinking about that.
oh, okay.
Tina from Bob's Burgers. So that was
I don't know. There was a movie about love between zombies in a movie. I think the movie was called Warm Bodies or something. I don't know. I'm trying. I'm trying
Warm
to.
Bodies.
Yeah.
That's why we have the internet to look this stuff up. It is a paranormal romantic zombie comedy written and directed by Jonathan Levine. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but whatever.
It exists if you want to see it. Yeah, Jennifer's Body is with Megan Fox. Yeah, I know that. I just didn't know. I'm trying to figure out what, if that plot falls in line with what Sox was talking about with romance between zombies.
That would be a funny movie, though.
But I mean, we did kind of get a romance in Army of the Dead, though, didn't we? Didn't we get a romance?
Yeah, with Zeus and the Alpha Queen. So we did get. That's a good point. So what's really ironic with this movie is that I think in some ways, of all the movies I've seen, despite being a zombie apocalypse, this is one of the least dark tones of the Snyder movies I've seen. I think the tone is much less dark than Rebel Moon, much less dark than the DC movies I've seen. Maybe 300. 300 is a pretty light tone too, but like the tone of this movie is pretty light considering like what is going on.
I mean, it's. I feel like the tone it can be classified as a realistic tone. How we would respond as a society to a zombie outbreak.
Yeah,
because
I
that's
mean,
always
it's like
that's always the approach. That's always the approach Zack takes. Like, for example, with Man of Steel, he totally took the perspective of how would society react, and we saw more of it in BVS, of course. How would society react to an alien among us? How would society react to Superman? And he took it in a grounded, realistic way. And I kind of felt like that's what he did with the tone here too. He gave us what he perceives would be the realistic view of society on a zombie apocalypse, which is to say what you and I said about adapting.
Exactly, adapting and just how people react in a situation too. You have some happy moments and some sad moments that in this movie, and that's realistic. And it's like us. Like if we were in that zombie apocalypse, you have comedic moments like going in, shooting zombies for views, and then you have depressing moments like seeing people get eaten alive. That's how it would be in a zombie apocalypse. So Zack Snyder captures the tone in this movie perfectly, and yeah, exactly. What would two Kryptonians fighting in a big city would look like? Well, I'll tell you what it would not look like. It would not be turned into a musical years later. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean,
Hawkeye.
the amount of well, for example, like Zach got criticized for all of the damage that was caused during the fight between General Zod and Superman. And the reality is that that's what it would be like. It would be catastrophic like that. It would be some happy little fight, some little dispute between two civilized uh civilized beings. It would literally be a very chaotic knockdown drag out fight between two beings, one that wants to protect the world and the other that wants to destroy it. So yeah, I mean, so when I look at Army of the Dead, I see a lot of the same. I see a lot of the same motifs as far as tone goes. But there were a lot of musical elements in Army of the Dead,
Yeah,
though, too. And hey, I think Zack Snyder was trying to be a little bit funny by throwing that kind of stuff in there and making it so on the nose, like just over the top. And I mean, I just thought all of it was great because you're looking at a society that's trying to essentially, in some ways, through all this is going on, they're all still trying to profit from the zombie apocalypse. On top of that, on top of everything.
exactly. And before we move on, I just want to say, Viva Las Vegas! The tone is captured perfectly in this movie. Viva Las Vegas! Don't worry, Socks. I had to get a musical segment in for you, but I wouldn't have said anything if you did not do this. Say this in the chat, cause Viva Las Vegas! It's time
Well,
to.
guys, that's what you do realize Rebel Moon 3 is going to be a musical, right? I mean,
I hope it is. I mean, that was my one criticism about Rebel Moon is that it wasn't a musical. That was my only criticism I had of Rebel Moon is they didn't make it a musical. Because I know Sox would have loved
no,
it as a
but
musical.
but a zombie musical, I think, would be awesome. I mean, come on, a zombie musical with some elements of from Singing in the Rain thrown in there. It would be amazing. And it would be
Yeah,
instead of the rain, you'd have blood, and you'd have I mean, we could maybe we could have an AI do it. We can have an AI resurrect you know the cast of Singing in the Rain to do a zombie musical.
and it'll be dedicated just for you, Sox Bulletin.
Yeah,
It'll
we
be
could dedicate
all.
it to Sox Bulletins. Yes. Yes.
And before we move on from the tone, I want to just kind of highlight what you said real quick about people profiting off the zombie apocalypse. That's exactly what would happen. Is you got Mister, I cannot pronounce this guy's name, Mister Tanaka. That's exactly what they would do. It's like I mean, now Grant. I mean, his cover story and what he was actually doing. People would
Yeah.
certainly use the blood to make money off of it, and even still, something like, "Hey, this money's already insured. Steal it from me, and I can spend this money too."
Yep.
That's just what would happen, especially Vegas of all places. I mean, think about it. It's Vegas. There's more cash in Vegas than there is any other city in the world. Like, if there was any city where this plot made sense, it was Vegas.
Well, not only that, how does James Gunn feel about the fact that Zack Snyder made a better Suicide Squad movie than he did? I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there because Army of the Dead is essentially like a Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
When you look at the plot, you look at the characters, you look at this is Zack Snyder's take on Suicide Squad, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. That is his take. It is Suicide Squad. James Gunn, take notes how to do a good Suicide Squad movie. Although no, you probably just copy it and add your own spin to it. So
Well, I mean, he's got ChatGPT writing Superman Legacy. So what can we expect? It just is what it is. But I just wanted to throw that out there because Army of the Dead was much better received than James Gunn's Suicide Squad. So,
yep. Now I want to get into some character studies, character conversations, and this one really intrigues me. So first of all, we just had Valentine's Day, so perfect character to talk about. One thing that's really interesting is that seeing zombie animals. You don't really see that very often. It's always very rarely do you see animals getting infected
it's
with
like in the movie,
zombie.
it's like in a lot of these movies and TV shows, it's as if the animals are immune and it's just a human virus. They kind of make it seem, but given the supernatural aspects of Army of the Dead, okay, I found this to be a welcome addition. And I did love, Valentine, the zombie tiger. I think that was genius. And not only that, the surprise by the actual cast themselves, right? How surprised they were by the fact that Valentine was a zombie tiger, by the fact that a zombie tiger exists. Like that alone, their reaction to the movie was a very natural and normal reaction. That's not something you're going to expect to see, especially if you don't see, if you're not used to seeing animals turned in that way. So yeah, I one of the best characters in the film by far.
And it's just perfect because again, Vegas tigers. If you're gonna have any animal in Vegas to turn into a zombie, a tiger's perfect because it's a threatening. I mean, it's a threatening animal if it's not a zombie, even first of all. But that's what
Right.
happened in
Right.
Vegas.
You're adding on layers of lethal threat by turning it into a zombie tiger. You're not, it is no joke now. Now you're really in trouble. Yeah.
And one thing though that I have to say, it's a good thing though it's just mammals, not birds so far who can get infected because I think Zack Snyder even confirmed that birds don't get infected by this because I'm just saying if birds got infected, they fly in the quarantine zone, they get bit, they fly out. What
Oh,
happens?
could you imagine the absolute bedlam? That nobody would have a chance with birds. No, it'd be game over for sure.
Yeah, it'd be like that movie The Birds combined with Walking Dead.
We should make that movie. We should make that movie. Oh my goodness. That would
Oh,
be
Happy Beat Day.
that would be incredible.
And let's just make it a musical while we're at it, dude. Let's just make that a musical.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Bird Zombies the musical.
and they'll have them go after people's socks. We'll have them do that too.
Yeah, happy birthday, Darth Plato. That's awesome. Yes. That's a great day. That's a great day to be born on, man. You were born on trending day. I'm just
Oh, wait, did he say that his birthday was actually on trending day, or I thought he said today was?
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, are you saying you were born on Valentine's Day, or is today your birthday?
Is today your birthday or Valentine's Day is your birthday? Because if Valentine's Day is your birthday, that's trending. That was trending day. So either way, it's a good day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Flies too. Flies, mosquitoes.
Oh my God, could you imagine that we would have no chance? Like spiders, rodents,
Yeah.
snakes.
So this leads to question about okay, it's the 20th. So, but what's interesting though is that if it is connected to Dawn of the Dead, dogs don't get infected. So it's interesting. It's like the zombie virus is progressing to infect animals or what? Or maybe it's like or maybe only the alpha can affect the animals.
Yeah, and babies can get affected, as we saw in Dawn of the Dead.
Yep. That too. So I have to confess though, ZodWriter, when Valentine's laying on that car and he like licks his lips and he takes a nap, like when the zombies are raiding the building and then like Valentine just gets on that one car and he just like lies down and like sleeps for a little bit. I have to confess, I kind of wanted to just run up there and pet him. Even though I know he's a zombie tiger, even without being a zombie, still dangerous to do, but even with being a zombie, even worse. But I just wanted to pet him. He just looks so cute.
But well, maybe we should talk to Zack Snyder about a possible Army of the Dead Valentine plush that Dan can pet. We can, kind of have some kind of and not only that, make it animatronic so that it makes sounds and that it kind of breathes and you can kind of.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I definitely don't think those things can morph. And hold on, let me find this. Okay, perfect. This transitions us perfectly to our next topic. And my favorite thing about Valentine's Odd is he killed this person right here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That guy was such a. First of all, if I were Scott or anyone on that crew, what I would have done right away is I would have just shot him once he entered the camp. Just be like, just get a gun, bang, you're dead. We'll just say the zombies got him.
Or
Who's
you
gonna
could,
know?
or like just throw them right into the pit. Don't even waste any time. Throw them into the zombie pit. Throw them overboard.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could have done that.
there was no. See, my thing is when you have people like that are only there for trouble and for ruining the symmetry of everything else. You don't need that. You don't need them there. So yeah, in a realistic situation, I think he would have been dead a long time ago, to tell you the truth. I don't think it would have been. I think he lived as long as he did because it was a movie. If it wasn't a movie and it was a real life, like what we were talking about, if it's a real life situation, he's out of there immediately. It's not even a question.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and we'll get more to this when we get into the Chambers topic, but when Chambers comes out, kills all those zombies, she literally had a chance to yell, Chambers, or Martin, lock me out! Martin, lock me out! She had a chance to do that, and she just didn't. In a realistic setting, she would have screamed. If she would have screamed to the top of her lungs. If I were in Chambers' position, I would scream to the top of my lungs. Martin did this to me. I may be dead, but you're coming down.
Hence why this to me felt like Zach's take on a Suicide Squad movie, because some of these people, in all fairness, are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. So,
To be fair, Martin was pretty clever when Chambers announced her suspicions of him. That was
no.
really
I'm not talking about Martin. Martin's clever. He's a douche, but he's clever enough.
Oh yeah,
alive. I'm talking about the idiots on the team that could have gotten rid of him sooner, but didn't. And like you mentioned, she could have outed him, but didn't. It's not very bright.
yeah, exactly. And and Chambers or Martin was able to fool Chambers by throwing that glow stick when she was suspicious of him. He's like, oh, and that's a minor thing to do. That's an easy thing to manipulate. So.
Right.
Especially Chambers telling him that you're suspicious. First of all, if you're suspicious of someone, don't mention that you're suspicious of someone.
And Tanaka, is the perfect corporate, like, oh my god, like that was the perfect the perfect role. Like, so just, I mean, profit. Martin is but no, in a realistic situation, any one of them probably would have been smart enough to dispatch Martin immediately.
Yeah, especially because you saw he screwed everyone over. Is that
Everybody. Yep.
well, I think Tig just well, that technically Tig's the name of the actress, but I think she just wanted herself to be prioritized first for surviving. That's what she wanted. That wasn't necessarily she didn't necessarily want to kill Martin. She just wanted to make sure that she was still going to survive. And we have a lot to say about this character, believe me. But and with Martin, he's just an ass too. With Dieter, he was like, "Here's your badge." Just kidding. Here, just little things like that, and then fooling Coyote. Like when he took the Alpha Queen's head, I'm like, "Oh no, why? That's not gonna end well. Why do that? At least wait till you all got the money and the helicopters up first."
Yeah. Great point.
So yeah, and then screwing over and then he screwed over two women. He screwed over Chambers and he screwed over Coyote. What do you think about this character?
Very well written.
I really like this. Just another kind of character who has a bit of a morally complex character. She clearly, it seems like she definitely does some stuff for money, but she's actually cares about people too. Like she takes people in, but she also wants to make sure they get out. She wants to do that. And the fact that she got that rapist killed shows that she has some moral conscience for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I don't think her character was necessarily bad, but then it's like survival is, when you're living in a world of a zombie apocalypse, survival is the number one aspect, you know. So you're going to always be looking out for yourself first and foremost, but and again, and caring about others in that situation can sometimes be a liability, but it's nice to see that, you know, characters, do have some semblance of, you know, uh, respect for other people, that, don't want to see everybody die.
Well, it's like, I mean, it clouded her judgment a little bit. Like when Martin said, "Hey, if
Yeah.
you help me do this thing, I'll get all these people out of the camps." And
Right.
Coyote went against her better judgment because let's be honest, I'm watching that. I'm like, "You idiot! What are you doing?" But at least that being said, at least she was smart enough to switch the bags on Martin
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
and even help Scott get away. He's just like use the Queen's head as hostage and just saying, you don't actually see her die. You see Zeus about to bite her, but you don't actually see Zeus bite her.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's a good point. Gotta leave some mystery there.
So I really, again, another great. This is what I love about Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder does so many great female characters. Well, there's actually one. Actually, his only miss with female characters is actually in this movie. I'll admit, and we'll get into that character. Yeah, we can actually get into now.
Yeah. I know who you're
So
talking. I know who you're about to bring up. Yeah.
So I want to clarify the difference between Martin and Kate, because some people say, well, Martin got more people killed than Kate. True, but here's the difference. Martin is a character we are supposed to hate. We are not supposed to hate Kate, but Kate is the dumbest person in this entire movie, is that she exists to fuck everything up.
That's right. That's right. You know, it's almost as if Kate's character, Zach knew exactly what he was doing, and Kate was perfect for this part. Because by the end of the movie, if you had half of a brain, you hated her character. And that's, I think, what it's supposed to be. I feel like Kate was responsible for the deaths of almost all the major characters. And
I mean,
I don't even think, I think if had she not been there, a lot more would have survived. 100%.
Martin did get a lot of the people killed, but Scott and Marie and Peters, we'll just say Peters, I can't pronounce her name. They would have survived definitely, and well, who knows? Because they also got distracted when Kate was missing too. So,
oh yeah, Kate's whole story arc was one big fu to the to the to the whole point, the whole plot of the story. Kate was the big fu. Kate was the monkey wrench in the middle of everything. It was always about, oh, we got to find Kate. Oh, we got to protect Kate. Kate shouldn't have been there. Kate was
yeah.
the unnecessary damsel in distress that was very lethal and essentially caused more harm than good. And that's just the fact of the movie.
Because she didn't. I mean, in some ways, she was being selfish. Like, yeah, she wanted to save her friend, but the reality is, she risked people's lives to do it. I mean, of course, they're going to go after you if you leave them. Of course, that's going to happen, and that's what happened. Is that they had to go after her, and she couldn't. And
I
she's like,
wanted
she didn't.
I wanted an I Hate Kate t-shirt after I saw this movie.
Oh yeah, me too. Because she got everyone killed, and the reason why she even went in the first place, she didn't even succeed in that goal because that person ended up dying anyways.
Yep. Yeah. She was a big nothing burger. She didn't help nobody. She contributed to more harm than she ever would have imagined.
She didn't follow the one thing that she agreed upon with Scott, which was stay with them. She didn't
Nope.
agree to that.
Nope.
Especially because at that point there were 20 minutes left before the nuke went off too. So like the chances of them even making it out were slim. So
Yep.
it's like, and what Scott should have done, honestly, is he should have fucking handcuffed Kate. He should have, instead of saying, "Oh yeah, you can go with us," and just handcuff her to somewhere and I don't know, hire some.
She needed a sedative. Lay her down for a nap, give her a sedative, and then everybody leaves, and by the time she wakes up, everybody's long gone.
But put her somewhere safe. Like put her in a sedative and like find her own apartment and put her in there so that like no one can, do anything to her while she's sleeping.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, just padlock padlock her in, and you know insulate the inside of her cabin, wherever you seal her away with concrete, so that zombies can't easily get in there. And yeah, she'll be fine.
yeah.
I
So
mean, in the end, she'll end up outliving everybody anyway, because everywhere she goes, she's like death to everyone, and so
the only female character that I hate that Zack Snyder did, and that like a character that we're not supposed to hate, mind you. I'm not counting characters that we're supposed to hate, but like
but I feel like we are supposed to hate her after we've seen the movie. See, we're supposed to be sympathetic towards her when the movie starts because she's likable Kate, but by the end of the movie, we're supposed to hate Kate. And that was brilliant on Zack Snyder's part, because he gave us a character that is multi-dimensional. He took a bland waste of a character and made her completely important, to the point where she's like a bigger villain than Darth Vader at this point. And I'm just like, you know what? This is the brilliance of this movie. This is the brilliance of what we saw on screen with Zack Snyder. It was perfect. It was perfectly done. We feel the way we do about Kate because it's the exact way that we're supposed to feel about Kate. She is the Grim Reaper. She is the daughter of the devil, and we should definitely see her as that. So I think it turned out exactly how it was supposed to tell you the truth.
Well, it's sad because at first you think that she's a good character because she's helping people. She's a volunteer to help people. But see, I think a lot of people, I feel like they have what they call this hero complex, where they're not helping people because it's the right thing to do. They're helping people to feel good about themselves. And that's what it feels about Kate, because if she really wanted to help people, she would never risk other people's lives for the 1% chance of saving that one woman.
Well, Kate is a greedy creature, and
And whereas Coyote's like, I wouldn't have taken her in if I had known that she had children. Kate's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna risk everyone's. Like, what about all those families those people who have children that you're
No,
risking their lives for?
none of that matters, Batman. None of it matters to Kate. All that matters to Kate is Kate wants to do everything in a straight line, A, B, C, D. She's not interested in all that other stuff.
See,
Forget it.
honestly, if I were in that group, there's two people I would kill. I would kill Martin, and I would have killed Kate. Well, I don't know, because the problem is Scott Ward was also there, and he would not have been happy with me. But I would just.
Kate needed. I don't think Kate necessarily needed to be killed. I think that Kate just needed to be neutralized and taken out of the equation so that she couldn't put anyone in harm's way. Because at one point, I actually started to think, Kate is intentionally doing this. Kate is working for the other team, because every decision that she makes leads to making things better for the other team and not our Suicide Squad over here. She's
like James Gunn in DC.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. Like, exactly, he mentioned Suicide Squad. I'm thinking James Gunn. Every decision he makes is better for Marvel.
That's right.
So, Kate, other words, Kate sucks. Hashtag Kate sucks. Hashtag Kate's a bigger villain. See, Zeus is not the villain of the movie. Kate is. Because to be fair, Zeus just wants to be left alone in his kingdom. He's like, hey, I have no interest in taking over the world. I'm happy staying here.
Zeus reminded me of a kid that I used to go to summer camp with when I was young, and the kid, his name was, I swear, Zeus looks exactly like this kid. I mean, the makeup and the way he looked, I was like, wow, reminds me of this dude that I used to know when I was younger. Zeus, yeah, he just wanted to be left alone. Just don't mess with Zeus, okay? Don't mess with his wife. Just leave him alone. Don't go in there and bother them, and they won't bother you because they're smart zombies. I really felt bad for Zeus. I did. I felt bad for Zeus. I felt like Zeus was the hero of the film.
Yeah, in some ways, because here's the thing. It's what you said. Zeus knows not to go after people because Zeus isn't stupid. He knows that if the entire U.S. Army is against him, eventually he's going to get killed. He knows that. He's not stupid. But he takes over just enough so that they'll leave him alone. He's like, hey, if I just take over this little area right here.
Well, it's like it's a parallel between Zack Snyder and director Paul Verhoeven with his Starship Troopers movie, in which the humans are actually the aggressors and the bugs in Starship Troopers are actually the good guys. And I feel like Army of the Dead, that's what Zack was doing. He was pulling a Paul Verhoeven and giving us the zombies are actually the good guys and the humans are the scumbags. So you're basically, you're kind of turning it on its ear. And then when you have a villain that's as evil and vile as Darth Vader in Kate, I can understand why, things turned out the way that they did. I mean, I mean, Zeus was damn near Luke Skywalker in this movie. I
Also,
mean,
that's what Coyote says though in the movie. Is that she even says in here the rules are clear. You don't see them screwing over each other, and
no.
you're right. Zeus cares about his subjects in a way. Zeus doesn't.
Zeus
I
was
mean,
running. Zeus is running the Jedi Order. Okay, that's what Zeus is doing. He's running the Jedi Order. He's doing his thing. He just wants to be left alone. You got all these evil Sith humans coming in trying to do their thing, and they're just they're coming in and they're trying to disrupt the order. And all Zeus is trying to do is bring order to the chaos. I believe that Zeus is a brilliant character, and I I loved every moment he was on screen. So smart, so very well thought out, so calculated. So I'm protecting my family. I'm protecting my wife. I'm protecting my people.
yeah,
It was like if you want to make it a more, and if you want to take it one step further and you want to make it, well, you can even give it a 3. You just reviewed 300 with Super Bro Corey. You can take it one step further and call Zeus the Leonidas of the group, because Zeus has got like you said, he carved out a small little group. He's got a small little group of followers, small little group of people that he's keeping under control. He can't control what all these stupid drones are going to do. And we saw that, Zeus kind of had his own way of disciplining the ones that, fell out of line. Zeus is not Zeus is a very calculating and intelligent leader. He's a strategist. He's like a general, So I don't, so for me, yeah, I felt bad for him and I was pulling for him all the way through, especially when I realized what was going on here. The human beings are scumbags and Zeus is the king.
exactly. When the humans are coming in and just stealing money, Zeus is like, "Yeah, go. You gave us an offering. Do whatever you want. I could care less." He didn't go after them until they beheaded his wife, until they beheaded his wife, and then
If they beheaded your wife, you'd go after him too. And that's the thing that I'm talking about here, okay? You don't go after the man. You don't go after the man's wife. What the hell is wrong with you? I know he's a zombie king, but come on, let's be realistic about this. What, zombie kings can't have feelings? They can't have emotions? I mean, what is going on here? Justice for Zombie King. I mean, this is ridiculous. I would have did the same thing when he went apeshit after they killed his wife. He had every right to whack out the entire contingent of humans, the whole suicide, everybody. They all deserve to be wiped out, because at that point, it's like, you're messing with me. I'm not doing nothing with you. This is the result of how every story turns out. Remember, I don't know if you've seen the Sylvester Stallone, the Rambo movies. I don't know if you saw
I haven't.
if you saw the first Rambo, where he's a Vietnam War veteran. He comes back from Vietnam, to make a long story short, and he's getting picked on and attacked by these these locals who don't who don't respect him for being a war veteran, because there was a lot of controversy surrounding Vietnam back at the time. And in other words, he's doing his thing, minding his own business, just trying to be left alone. They keep picking on him, picking on him until they take it too far. And then they're the ones that are crying and wanting to get revenge on him, when all he's doing is defending himself. And this is exactly what we got here with the Zombie King. Army of the Dead is a brilliant film, because Zeus is one of the most well thought out and tragic figures. Honestly, this was a love story, by the way. Okay. Zeus and his wife, okay, the bride from the beginning of the movie that we saw, it's debatable whether or not the guy she was married to was the Zombie King, and it was It's debatable, but I just feel like if they would have left the Zombie King alone and they would have stayed in their lane, a lot of them would have survived. And I don't think that. And I think that if you're gonna kill his wife, you better be prepared to kill him because he's coming after you.
And he's smart. He's smart. He's fast. Like he knew where to go. He followed the direction of the helicopter to get his revenge. He's like, oh, they're landing here, and he charges really fast. He
He,
put on a helmet too. He put on a helmet over him because he knew where that a headshot would kill him.
Not only that, I love the way he just went full Leonidas and just went at everybody. I mean, he was in full Hulk out mode. I mean, we're talking Christopher Reeve Superman after he finds out that Lois Lane was killed, and how he out and his rage he turns back the world. Zeus is like it was like a powerhouse like that. I mean, you talk about you talk about the rage, bringing out the rage of somebody. Imagine being a zombie and keeping all your rage in check, right? Well, yeah, DC Talk makes a great point
Yeah.
there too. You see, so not only is it his wife, but you killed his kid, which, I mean, you killed the zombie prince. You bastards, you killed the zombie prince. Do you realize what you've just done? So now you've made it an even more tragic story. You've made it Shakespearean. I mean, Army of the Dead is one of the greatest movies of all time. Honestly, it's a Shakespearean tragedy. What we're getting here, it is literally a Shakespearean tragedy. And once again, the humans are the scumbags. Team Zeus all the way, 100%.
Yeah. Team Zeus. Hashtag I stand with Zeus. And
For real.
because they killed this woman. They killed the Alpha Queen.
Oh my God. What a beautiful queen. What a strong queen. What a powerful queen. Let me tell you something. I mean, I almost used another word right now and I stopped myself. But I just, but she's so powerful. She's let's just say she's as fearless and as fierce as Wonder Woman. She's definitely got the power, guys. And I honestly, I mean, you can't talk about Zeus without talking about his Alpha Queen.
Well, the Alpha Queen's a badass. She's another smart woman who has that kind of that honor. It's like, hey, you gave me my tributes.
She has that Amazonian honor.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like the alpha zombies in this movie is that in theory, if humans and zombies in theory could sign a peace treaty to coexist with each other, they could just say, "Hey, you stay in your lane, we stay in our lane, and we'll send you all our prisoners. If a prisoner does something wrong, we'll
This
give you."
this movie was a tragedy about about a family just trying to live. Okay, that's what this movie is. That's what's at the heart of this movie. The you know the zombie king, the Alpha Queen, and their child. Okay, she's pregnant with his child. They just want to be left alone. He wants to be able to raise his zombie child. The prince or the princess, whatever it's going to be. I don't know what the gender is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be non-binary or what. I have no idea. I just know that the zombie family should have been left alone, and that's what this movie was about. It's about a family. It's about a family. It's a family tragedy. Army of the Dead is a family tragedy. It's Shakespearean in nature, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Exactly. Yes.
And it really. So how we're getting I Am Legend 2 coming out, or supposed to. The original ending of that movie had that exact same type of ending that we're talking about. Also, where the original ending for I Am Legend, which will be canon in the sequel, it was the same thing. Is that the Dark Seekers were the good guys? They were just trying to live their peace. It was Dr. Neville, I forgot how you pronounce it. That's how you pronounce Will Smith's character's name. He was the bad guy. He was the one killing all those
Dr.
people.
Neville. Dr. Neville.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I listen. Human beings are scumbags. Okay, they're the problem. They're the problem in all these stories. That's the plot twist. It's the humans that are scumbags. Think about it. Superman's just trying to do the right thing in Man of Steel and BVS. He's trying to save humanity. He's trying to keep us alive, and the humans are ungrateful and turning against him and acting like he's the villain when he's trying to help everybody. Then you have Batman, who's a stupid human who goes after Superman for no reason, goes after Superman because of his own,
Careful dissing Batman.
because of his insecurities. He goes after Superman, right? He goes after him, and there's even a 1% chance, da da da. Zach is telling the same story here that Paul Verhoeven tells in all of his movies. Humanity is the problem. It's not anyone else. It's human beings. They're the ones that are dishonorable. They're the ones that are always they're always going off half cocked on their emotions and thinking they can do whatever they want. Everybody else be damned. And that's what happened. Now, again, in the case of Batman v Superman, Batman learned. Batman realized that he made a mistake and he owned up to his mistake. And, that was, part of the brilliance of that concept. But here, you just see the ugly side of humanity, discriminating against these honest to God, hardworking zombies that just want to do the right thing. It's ridiculous.
God, this channel is so going to get canceled soon. But I agree with you, though. I mean, they were just trying
I'm
to
talking about in the context of the movie. That's all I'm doing. I'm not, it's the movie. It's the context of the story. I'm not, I'm not making a judgment, but that's what in the context of the story, the humans are the villains. Even in Planet of the Apes, you can use Planet of the Apes as another example. The apes are just trying to live peacefully, trying to do their thing. They're not trying to be at war with the humans. It's the humans that are the aggressors. And then when the humans end up getting locked up in cages, we're supposed to feel sorry for them because the apes are running the show. Well, you were the aggressors.
So did see Planet of the Apes. I still have not. The only one I've seen was the Tim Burton awful one, but I haven't seen the classic one ever.
You got to go back and watch those movies. I'll do a watch party with you if you want for the original one.
Yeah, definitely. I guess anything I want to say about the Alpha Queen herself, because
I love the Alpha Queen. I felt bad for her too. And the thing is, only Zack Snyder can make us feel extreme empathy for zombies. I mean, it was unbelievable. I was literally tearing up. I'm like, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they killed her off.
Yeah.
Because all I was thinking about is how I would feel. How would you feel? Somebody comes in, kills your wife, an unborn child, and is going after you. And all you were doing was just trying to mind your own business. And on top of it, he was honoring every deal that he made with those scumbags.
Yeah.
He didn't go back on any of it.
Well, what Coyote should have done, honestly, was just give the head back to Zeus and be like, "Hey, Zeus, this was all me. They had nothing to do with this. It was all me. Punish me." And maybe Zeus would have had some sense of honor. He's like, "Hey, you gave me the head back. I'll kill you and let those guys go." So, yeah, the zombies are the good guys at the end of the day, not the humans. Now, I want to talk about this character next because this just is another testament to Zack Snyder's work right here. Is because not only did Zack have to CGI an actor, he changed the character's sex, gender, whatever word you want to use, and had to make the dialogue flow so that it didn't matter what the characters were saying because only one of the actors filmed with Tig, and it was the actress who played Maria Cruz. That's the one actress who did film scenes with Tig right here. But My God, that CGI was so good. There are certain shots where I kind of notice it, but in general, Zack Snyder did a good job of making it feel so seamless.
You're not gonna. One thing that I loved about it was there's no way you're going to know that. There's no way you're going to know that is that was CGI'd unless you knew about the behind the scenes drama that
Yeah.
precipitated it. That's how good it was.
And I just want to clarify for people who, on the off chance that there's someone watching this who has no idea what we're talking about. So basically, what happened is Zack Snyder filmed Army of the Dead. The whole movie was filmed, it was out, and then there's this one of the characters, originally a man who played the helicopter person, had some sexual assault allegations, and Netflix and Zach, they worked to basically take the character, the actor, completely out of the movie. And because of COVID, they had to CGI the new actress Tig, who played Peters, into the movie, make it seamless without any of the other actors. The only actor who came to film additional scenes with this new actress was the actress who played Maria Cruz. Everyone else who was in this movie was not there. They did not interact with her. They didn't at all have any. None of the actors had any interaction with her whatsoever. That is how Zack Snyder did it, and again, that's a testament. And also, what I like about it, it puts more accountability on some of these actors, because if an actor films the entire movie and they want to F up afterwards, well, maybe you can still be taken out of the movie. So, and personally, I think that's what Zack Snyder should do, or what David Ayer should do with Margot Robbie if she's going to be a little bitch about the Ayer cut.
Well, we don't need the Ayer cut because we got Army of the Dead. And Army of the Dead was a superior Suicide Squad movie anyway. That's my way of looking at it. We eventually got a Suicide Squad movie, just not the one we thought we were going to get, but we eventually got one.
But the point is though, is that Zach did a good job of making this so seamless. And what's really clever, if you notice, he puts the character in a lot of shots by herself. If you notice, there's very few shots she's actually in with other people. Most of the shots.
Yeah, I'm sure that was by design because yeah, you're gonna have her. You're just gonna make it more complicated for yourself.
Yeah. And that's why, the one scene on the helicopter with Maria Cruz, that one looks good because my guess is that was one of the scenes that she was actually with her. But yeah, and that's because if you notice, just like even on the helicopter, even when Scott and her are on the helicopter, you never see the two of them actually together. You know they're together because they're both on the helicopter, but you never see it.
Yeah.
But and again, it's clever how Zach never refers to the gender of the character. Like none of the characters ever refer to the person's gender at all in the movie.
That's very true.
Because again, it was a man originally in the movie, but aside from like the whole behind the scenes, what do you think about the character itself? The character herself?
I enjoyed her character. We're gonna get to my favorite female character, but she was definitely cool. I didn't have a problem with her at all. I thought she was well written. A lot, like a lot of Zach's characters. Zach's characters are very strong, real, and legitimate characters that they're never written paper thin. They're always given a nice amount of things to do to where you care about them, and a lot of them are very, very complex, especially the way, for example, like what we were just talking about with Kate, where she was so complex. She turned out to be the big bad of the entire thing. So it's one of those things where you just, people criticize Zack Snyder and say he doesn't know how to write female characters. And I think that's a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah. And I really love her character's lines, Marine Peter's lines. Like when Dieter complains about the Japanese guy saying the word Japanesey. I just love Peter's reaction. It's like, oh no, it's okay to say that if you're Japanesey. Just the way she just uses that. I just thought that was so hilarious. And how she puts herself on survival. She's just being realistic with herself and saying, hey, it's like I'm more important because I need to get you guys all out of here. She's looking out for her own survival.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how she wanted the money. She wanted in on the money without no questions asked. But hey, she came back. She shouldn't have, but she came back for Scott.
Yep. I agree.
So just overall great character. So
For a character that was not initially intended to be in the film, I think the character turned out pretty damn good.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I was looking this up before the review, is that she apparently did 14 days of green screen footage. Like that's how they filmed her in the movie.
And it shows how great of an actress she is to be able to pull that off so seamlessly. Of course, Zack is a genius and he's brilliant, but he needed a good actress to pull it off. And she really did wonderful things with her portrayal. Absolutely.
It reminds me a lot of the Batman Joker scene from the Snyder Cut, because for those of you who don't know, in the Snyder Cut, Ben Affleck and Jared Leto didn't film that scene together. There were scheduling that prevented them from filming on the same day, and it's seamless. Like if Deborah hadn't said anything before the movie, I would have had no idea that they didn't film together. I almost wish Deborah didn't say anything before it came out, but it's the same thing here. Like, if I didn't know about the behind the scenes drama, I would not have known that there was any. I would just been like, oh, she's in the movie.
Right.
And even the CGI that I know only because I'm looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, another great character. So, we have 2 female characters left. Is this your favorite character? Female character.
I love Samantha Wynn in this movie. She is such a badass. Chambers is an incredible character. She was giving me Ripley from Aliens vibes. She was so great, so amazing. Like I'm still in awe. Like that's one of my that's one of the greatest things in the world about Army of the Dead is the fact that Samantha Wynn got an opportunity to come out and be in another Zack Snyder film and just blow us away as one of the most badass female characters on screen. It was wonderful. Wonderful.
And I just want to say real quick, shout out to the Bat Channel, to Trey and Super Bowl Corey for getting Samantha Wynn on your show for the week of Full Circle. That was incredible. The fact that you got that interview with her and our Green Lantern, Wayne T. Carr, that was very impressive. So shout out to you guys. And just on that interview, Samantha Wynn just seemed like a very genuinely nice person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she portrayed a genuinely awesome badass.
Wait, Terrence Stamp was in Star Wars? Oh, didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I got a little...
Terrence Stamp was one. It was the other. I think was one. It was the other. I want to say he was the other chancellor. Was the chancellor before? Wasn't he the chancellor before Palpatine became chancellor?
Okay, now I gotta look this up. I just know Terrence. Well, it's so funny. I think a Terrence Stamp actually has Jor-El, not Zod, even though I know he's most famous for Zod. Because of that show, that disgraced show. Oh yeah, he is. That is. Yep, I know who you're talking about. Yep, that is him. I'll be damned. Okay.
He's the other chancellor, right?
Yeah. Yep, he's the other chancellor.
Yeah.
Zod and Jor-El.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Yeah, what I love about Chambers is that she's not someone who you thought would be in a fight because who would be a good fighter. Because think about it, when Scott brought her in, or when my God, I'm so bad. When Mikey Guzman brought her in, she supposedly didn't know how to kill a zombie. She even raised her hand that she didn't know how to kill a zombie, and here she is fighting out, like dying, not going down without a fight. She goes down swinging. Is that every time you think she's dead, she comes out of the window, miraculously comes out of the window, fights more zombies, and she was smart enough to catch on to Martin. The only thing I did not like about her character was her not screaming at the top of her lungs, Martin did this. That is the only criticism I have with that character. But other than that, the way she's just able to take down zombies left and right. Damn.
And we know she could scream. She did a lot of screaming in the movie, that's for sure. So that backs up what you said about there was no reason why she shouldn't have been screaming in that situation.
Yeah. And again, there's not too much to say about her because she's not in the movie that much, but for what she's in it's really impressive. And
She's
it shows
fantastic. Yeah.
it shows why every actor, no matter how small, matters. And that's what I love about Zack Snyder, is that all the characters matter, no matter how small they are. Like the whole cliche saying there's no small parts, just small actors. That's no more true than with Zack Snyder. That is so true with Zack Snyder completely.
Yeah. I mean, every single one of these characters had layers to them that made you care about them. And and it was wonderful. I mean, it's like I'm rooting for the zombies the whole time, but I can still empathize with some of these human scumbags.
Well, to be fair, Chambers didn't kill any of the intelligent zombies. Chambers was only after the other human scumbag, to be fair. She wasn't.
Right.
I mean,
right. And those are the things that, those are the things that stand out to me, that stood out. There are some honorable humans amongst the general scum.
and to be fair, most of the humans were not in on that, the dirty shit. That was mostly Martin and Coyote and Kate. I'm blaming Kate still because she's just awful.
Kate's just got awful.
And look who we have in the chat here.
There we go.
Integrity. And hey, Integrity, the point of the stream, the point of this whole series is to hype up Rebel Moon Part 2, and in turn, also hype up Cell to get us ZSJL2. So, yeah, Chambers, again, great character, awesome character. I guess anything else you want to say about her?
Just that I love her character. I think she's awesome. And I'm thankful that she was played by Samantha Wynn.
Yeah. And I hope to see more Samantha Wynn in the future. Was her Amazon killed off in ZSJL?
I don't. God, I don't know. I don't remember. Oh my God.
Have to look into that one. Hey, Sin Havoc. Could you clarify if Samantha's Wynn is alive? If her Amazon character is alive in after ZSJL? Wait, was she killed off or was she alive? I don't remember. I kind of asked both those questions. So yeah, she was. Could be either. Okay, yeah, no. Okay, so he just knocked her horse over, so she could be alive then. The horse fell. Okay, the horse fell on her. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. But yeah, overall, Chambers, great character. Samantha Wynn, great character, and I hope that you're in the Rebel Moon franchise as well. So, and now we're gonna get to my favorite character. So you notice how I'm wearing a Germany hat? I decided to wear the Germany hat in honor of this guy. What a perfect, of all the characters to get a spin-off movie, this was such a great character to get a spin-off movie. I loved Dietert. Is that he has another character arc too, is that he actually goes from being this doofus, this yutz, to somewhat of a badass.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot you could say about Dieter, but he definitely is a major, major bright spot in this movie, for sure.
He's a bit of comedic relief, but he doesn't kill the comedy.
No,
He doesn't
no,
kill the
no.
tone.
He shows James Gunn how comedy should be done in a Suicide Squad movie. That's what it is. Okay? That's how you do comedy. It doesn't have to be you know, fart jokes and penis jokes and Aquaman, sleeping with fish. Doesn't have to be that kind of stuff, James Gunn, okay? This is what Dieter, a well-written, well-acted character who deserved a spin-off and actually got one. So he
Yeah.
deserved, should be able to get his own trilogy. I mean, my goodness.
And actually, I'll tell you right now, ZodWriter and I, we're also going to review Army of the Dead on here. So, not this show, not this.
Army of Thieves. Yes.
Yeah, Army of Thieves. Army of Thieves is what I meant to say. Yeah. Not this particular episode, but later on we will review Army of Thieves. So be on the lookout for that. But here's the thing, what I like about Dieter. The biggest thing I like about him is he's competent. Is that the thing that they brought him on to do, he does flawlessly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And his character is so well fleshed out too. Like you get these, and I love all these people that give criticisms to Zack Snyder for the way he does characters. And Zack Snyder's characters are always so one-dimensional. There's nothing to his characters. There's more character development in Army of the Dead than there is in 1/10 of anything that James Gunn does.
Yeah, exactly. And Dieter especially, because at the end of the day, Dieter saves Vanderhoof. Dieter does that. He saves someone else's life. And Zach actually implied that Dieter doesn't die in this movie, because my whole comment earlier about if you don't see someone die, they're not dead. Someone made that comment to Vero on Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder said, yes, that's correct. So Zack Snyder's hinting that Dieter is alive.
Oh, of course he is. They got to be able to use Dieter more, for sure.
Especially after seeing Army of Thieves, I really want Dieter to live.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another great character. And what I really like about this movie too is his chemistry with this character. Is that, think about it, Vanderhoof and Dieter started off hating, like Vanderhoof hated Dieter. He despised Dieter. And then eventually after working with him, he bonds with him. And they get along really well.
Yep.
What do you think about this character overall, Vanderhoof?
I liked seeing his character progression. I liked seeing how he started off and what he became, and I liked seeing the sort of buddy relationship between him and Dieter blossom throughout the movie. And I especially love the way that he was handled and the ambiguity about what's next for him after Army of the Dead.
Yeah, well, we saw that he got bitten and he's going to turn into a zombie. But here's the thing. We'll get into the time loop section later, but he seems to be aware of the time loop. He's the one who has the conversation. He when Dieter, he made a comment. I think he was the one who made the comment about Dieter, not your first time, when Dieter's a perfect shot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The time loop.
And I love how badass he is, too, when he has the saw. He has, like, that giant saw, and he doesn't let anyone else touch it. Just little details like that I love about him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gonna become the next smart zombie king, but that's just my take.
Planet of the Dead. I think so too. I think you're right. Now I want to get to this character, which I just looked this up. Yes, his last name, Zack Snyder actually made his last name Cummings.
Well, it was definitely appropriate.
Yeah, that you know what I love though about these like this and Rebel Moon? I love that when Zack Snyder puts these characters in his movie, I love that he gives them their come up with. How do you say that word? Comeuppance? I cannot pronounce words today, man.
Yeah, comeuppance. Yes, comeuppance.
Comeuppance. I love that he does it. You know, Rebel Moon, you got Korra killing them all, wiping them the floor with them, and then with this character right here, I love that Coyote's like brought him in to be the sacrifice because he's just scum. And well, it shows realistically. You mentioned the tone and the realistic setting. That's another that he's another person who takes advantage of the system because think about it. He has the power to get anyone killed without question. If some woman pisses him off, doesn't want to sleep with him, he can just say, "Oh, you dropped a degree. We have to kill you now." And no one that's what there are scummy people like that in the world who would do that.
Absolutely, without question. And he was aptly named, and that the sliminess and the grime just oozes from him every time he's on screen. He's a he's the very definition of toxic.
100%. Honestly, I feel like Zach put him in the movie just because he needed a sacrifice to kill that we wouldn't feel bad about.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I'll be honest. If I see someone like that taking advantage of of women like that, if I see you in person, anyone doing that to a woman or anyone whatsoever, because there's a lot of things I that get me upset, and that's one of them. But I'm glad that Zack Snyder gives people like that because that's something that just would happen. There would be people like that who would do that. But I'd like that he got his due.
Hashtag don't cancel Bat Dan. Okay, don't cancel Bat Dan. All right, Bat Dan is not condoning violence. He's just expressing his emotions.
I know. Yeah, I think though, if someone saw me saying that towards one of those people, I'm pretty sure that most people would be in agreement with me. But
but you'd have some people that would be crying to you about his rights. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So, Bat Dan's Thoughts does not condone violence and would say to evil people who deserve it.
And especially evil people that attack zombies that don't deserve it.
Yep, that too. And well, it's ironic though, he became one of the smart zombies because he was bitten by the alpha. He saw Kate and he recognized Kate. But he died twice. He got turned into a zombie and
yeah, Mr. Cummings definitely got his comeuppance.
I can't believe Zach did that, but hey, you know it's fitting for him. Is Bert some sort of double entendre that I don't know about, by the way, or is it just Cummings?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean that just sounds like the name of a creep. I mean, what are you gonna do?
No offense to anyone out there who's named Bert, by the way. So
yes, offense. Yes, we are discriminating against people named Bert on this show. Send all your hate mail to Bat Dan's Thoughts, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, and actually, I recognize Shades too, Qatar. That's what when I saw him, I just called him Shades.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, to be fair, Socks, I wasn't saying anything about musicals. You brought it up this time. Socks brought it up. He brought it up.
Yeah. Socks is pointing out your abuse. That's what he's doing. He's pointing it out, and yeah. Bert versus Bat Dan. That's what this is. Anybody named Bert? Got to go after Bat Dan now for even suggesting the idea that the name Bert is associated with some double entendre for pervertedness. like Cummings.
Let's move on. So this character, it's an okay character. I like that you saw a YouTuber who that's how he'd react, and he applied his skills, but nothing really too much about him, other than he did make some right calls. Like, for example, when he saw his friend about to get killed, he was smart enough to shoot the gas tank to give Samantha a quick death, but also kill a bunch of zombies at once.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because somebody's getting canceled. It's either Bert or Batman.
So, yeah, I don't know. Not too much to really say about this character, but I thought he was cool. I thought he was a fine addition to the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, this guy, the greedy, the slimy businessman. Talk about taking opportunities, taking advantage of the climate. This guy is exactly it. I mean, first of all, his story was convincing enough because that's enough to gain. It's like $50 million, or I think it was 45 million was his cuts. That's enough for anyone. But the fact that he also was taking advantage of the zombies' blood too, selling it to army people. The guy's a genius. The guy's smart, but he's also a douche.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't care about the people. He cares about the money. Again, this was the Suicide Squad. I mean,
Really sucks. Really? Okay, I deserve that to be fair. I deserve that to be fair.
light them up. Light up those Christmas trees. Let's see some Christmas trees in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well, I guess Batman's thoughts will just be taking over from here on out, so...
Oh, goodness.
So, yeah, again, with Tanaka's character, not too much to say about him other than he's just that greedy businessman. But the actor does a good job portraying him as that cunning guy, that cunning, corrupt businessman.
Well, yeah,
guy.
that's exactly who would be at the heart of a lot of this stuff if this is what happened in real life. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody like that.
Now, I want to get into this character. The one actress to film with Tig was this character right here. What'd you think about her?
Awesome. I liked Miss Cruz. I thought she was cool. Yeah.
Really integrity? No, it did not look that did not look cool though. Maria Cruz was cool. Your out of seasonal Christmas tree did not. But yeah, I like the character too. I thought she was a pretty cool character. I love her loyalty towards Scott Ward, and I love that she was willing to go out with Scott to find Kate, to find his useless daughter.
Yeah, his useless daughter that was responsible for the majority of the death and anguish in the movie. Yeah, thanks a lot, Kate. Thanks, Kate. Hashtag thanks, Kate.
Well, not the first likable character to be killed off. That was definitely Chambers, but yeah, I mean, and just someone else who was just like little things, like she made it seem like she wasn't going to work with Scott, but then she did work with Scott. She's like, oh, I didn't say that. She's just realistic. She knows the situation's dire, and she's the one who calls Scott on his BS. She was the one who was against bringing Kate in. She's like, what are you doing, Scott? Why are we bringing this girl in? Maria knew.
Yep. Maria knew. Hashtag thanks, Kate.
Unfortunately, though, the useless daughter of this guy. Now,
he was pretty useless too, to be honest.
But I gotta say though, Zack Snyder did a much better job with this actor than James Gunn.
See, I'm glad you said that because yes, Batista actually had to act in this movie.
And Batista did a really good job acting. Zack Snyder brought out his talent in this movie. And it's why I really hope Batista does not go into the DCU, because honestly, if he wants to do DC, I'm sure Zack Snyder can have him play Bane in ZSJL 2 and 3.
I thought he wanted Bane, and DC told him no. I thought I don't know if it was Zach who told him no. I don't know, but somebody told him no about being Bane in the DCU, but DCEU. But I honestly, as far as this movie goes, it's one of Batista's best acting roles. Probably
Yeah.
his best, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. It got him because I think he even said he wanted to be in more serious roles.
This was a good role for him. He had to act.
And and like the character, he's a conflicted guy. He's trying to reconnect with his daughter. I don't know why, but he wants to, and he wants to earn money, and like he wanted to give the money he wanted to give the money to his daughter. Keep in mind, like he was going to give
Again,
his daughter.
again. This whole thing is all for Kate, and Kate screwed everybody. Hashtag thanks, Kate. That's the reality.
Oh, interesting. Mm. So if Zack Snyder wanted him to play Bane, he could on
Oh,
Netflix. Is
okay.
that right? So
Well, maybe. I mean,
there was actually another movie I saw Dave Bautista in. He was playing a guy who was taking his British niece to a soccer game, and the soccer
yeah.
game.
I love that movie. It was God, what? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's something about a hero. I can't remember, Little Hero or something like that.
Let's see, Dave
Little
Bautista. Final score.
No,
Is
there
that
was
it? Is it fine?
wasn't
Yeah,
there
it's
another
final
one?
score.
Wasn't there one other one where he played a spy and the little girl? I'm looking it up now. The one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking of was basically he had an army buddy who was basically like his brother that got
I'm
killed.
thinking of I'm thinking of the movie. I'm thinking of the movie My Spy, where he had to protect this little girl. It was a really, if you haven't seen it, it's a really really cute little, action comedy kind of thing. But it was really good, and Dave Bautista was really good in it.
And again, like the movie I'm talking about came out before Army of the Dead. But the point is, the fact that Zod and I both had two different movies where Dave Bautista played serious roles shows that Dave Bautista can do a good job playing serious roles, that he doesn't have to play goofy characters. And to be fair, Drax wasn't too goofy in the first Guardians.
No, and My Spy had some serious moments, but My Spy was hilarious in points too, really was. And I think he, but I really liked his role, and I liked what he did in Army of the Dead too. I just, again, it was all for nothing because his daughter messed it up for everybody. So
Yeah. But he was he was a good protagonist. He played the conflicted guy who had to kill his wife. I mean, think of how hard that would be. Like,
yeah,
you have to kill.
that was crazy. That scene was crazy, and it was like they were showing it in the montage. And it's good that they
Yeah.
did that, because if they would have showed it as a, imagine how dramatic and how traumatizing it would have been if that scene wasn't being shown in a montage. If you actually seen it, play out, it would have been even more emotionally gutting. And from just the little bit, the inference that we saw where he had to stab his wife was so well done on screen. And Dave Bautista really showed his acting chops there.
There is one thing that Dave Bautista's character did that pissed me off, though. The scene where he's about to get on the helicopter and he's just standing there.
He fathered Kate.
Yeah, that too. But remember when he's going to get on the helicopter and he's just smiling at Maureen Peters for a little bit before actually getting on the helicopter?
Yeah.
Even in the theater, I was like moving my legs around. I was like shaking like this. I'm like, what are you doing? Get on the damn helicopter, you idiot!
Yeah.
So that was the one thing his character did that annoyed me, but I still like the character overall. And then, when he's crying when Kate has to put him down, as frustrated as I am how he ended up in that situation.
Kate.
Dave Bautista did a good job portraying that. So this was a good role for him. And Zack Snyder has an eye for talent. That's the thing with Zack, is that he has an eye for talent. There's a reason why most of Zack Snyder's actors are unknowns, because Zack can pick them out. I mean, even Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is only known now because of Wonder Woman. Same
Right.
with
She had
Henry
that
Cavill's
one. She had that
Superman.
one. She had that one goofy role in one of the Fast and Furious movies, and Zack cast her as Wonder Woman and made her career.
Yeah. Same with Henry Cavill as Superman. Henry Cavill was nothing.
Cavill was known for some other things, but he was not well known. But he was more known than Gal Gadot. But yeah,
Yeah.
Zack
Gal Gadot.
Zack has a way of totally, finding the actors and putting them in the best possible roles he can for whatever project he's doing. And this movie is no exception to that. I mean, all of the characters were right. Yeah. Yeah, Cavill was in The Tudors, and then right before Man of Steel, he was in that Immortals movie, and he was in a Hellraiser movie. He was in a few things. Cavill was not a well-known actor, but his name was starting to get out there. That when Zack cast him in Man of Steel, it was huge because the announcement for Henry to be in Man of Steel came right before the Immortals came out. And that was, yeah.
Yep. And we know that. And also, not just ZSJL2, but also Rebel Moon Part 3 as a Han Solo character. But better use his British accent. I'm telling you, I'm just gonna say, if Zack Snyder is in the chat at all, I'm just gonna say hypothetically, if Zack Snyder is in the chat at all, do not put Cavill in Rebel Moon unless Cavill uses his British accent. I'm telling you this right now. I do not want to see Cavill use an American accent in that franchise. For
You know what would be
Superman, yeah.
funny? You know what would be funny? He uses Cavill in Rebel Moon, but Cavill plays an alien and has like a completely different dialect. So you're not you won't even know that it's Cavill. That would be so funny. Cavill's
I
in
can see
the
Zack
movie,
doing.
but he's not, you don't know that it's him. Oh, it'd be hilarious. Yeah, he's the Highlander, which again, wow. And he probably will be Sox. I mean, but
And Warhammer, Geralt, lots of great roles, and hopefully Superman and ZSJL 2 and 3 on Netflix. So anyway, anything you want to say about Scott Ward's character before we move on?
tragic that he fathered a daughter like that. That's all I could say.
But hey,
Maybe
time loop.
maybe in his next life. Yeah.
So what do you think about the time loop Easter eggs they do?
I think that this was Zack's way of showing that quantum immortality is a real thing. And I think that the time loops, certain character, a certain character that we mentioned earlier is aware of the time loops because he has the ability to travel between timelines.
Like Vanderhoek. Vanderhoek clearly is aware. Even little things. Someone pointed out that when he's doing in the beginning when he's in the pool with the old woman, he turns his head around a split second before the door actually opens and makes a sound.
He's the one that is immortal, that has survived all these timelines. He's the one that, if he dies in a timeline, he wakes up in another timeline, but he's the one that has memories of all these other timelines. That's why he remembers the time loop. He's the one. He's the key.
He's the one who points out that they're all dressed the same, that like the skeletons are dressed exactly the same. He pointed out, he points all that out. It's really clever.
And the only way that he knows this is if he's the one, if he survived in a quantum immortality like event. For those that don't know what quantum immortality is, it's the theory that when you die, you don't actually die. Your consciousness just goes to a timeline where you continue living your life like you didn't die. So you die in the timeline that you're in, but you continue to survive in another timeline that's a little bit different from the one you came from, but is close enough to the one that you came from to where there won't be all that many inconsistencies. But there are inconsistencies, and he's aware of all of them because he's experienced it before, and somehow he remembers, which is why I'm convinced he is the next smart zombie king.
Yeah. He's definitely gonna have a big role in Planet of the Dead, I'll say that. So, and what I like, and that's what I like about Zack Snyder, is that it's more than just a zombie movie with him. It's a time loop movie, and it's an alien Easter egg movie too. It's like you got the UFO, you got the blue eyes. I mean, there was an animatronic in there at one zombie in there at one point, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I went back. I'm looking for. I was looking for Motherworld references.
Oh yeah. Did you find any?
Which I not really, but I kind of feel like maybe the animatronic zombie, maybe.
Well, the blue eyes. Someone pointed out the blue eyes that they had was very similar to one of the creatures in Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
Like that it was that one alien that like takes over a person and makes them kind of zombie-like. So that's why I mean, hey, I just want to say I theorized Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon being the same universe even before that all came out. That was a theory I had.
They're definitely in the same universe. Without a doubt, Zack is building a Snyderverse on Netflix with his original IPs. Most definitely.
Yeah.
There's no. I'm sure if we go back and we rewatch Army of the Dead again, and because this is the thing, every time you watch a Zack Snyder movie, no matter how many times you've seen it, you will get something new from it. You will catch something that you either missed or you didn't see, no matter how many times you've seen it, because Zack has that ability, and especially when you're looking for that kind of stuff. So I'm convinced that they're tied. Oh yeah, we definitely do. A show just on timelines would be so much fun.
Oh yeah. I would love that too. And just seeing there's so much Zack could do with that. I mean, you need a whole show to explain something like timelines. And
you could theoretically he could do a TV series on Netflix focusing on the timelines and showing all the different times that this happened, and Vanderhoof remembers it, and you could show him dying and waking up in the next timeline, but remembering, somehow having recall from the previous timeline, which you're not supposed to have. It's supposed to be seamless. You're not supposed to remember anything from the previous timeline. You're supposed to seamlessly implement. You're supposed to seamlessly merge with whatever timeline you're in. So you're not supposed to have those memories, but it happens that you do have those memories, and then so it makes sense that there would be a character in Army of the Dead that would have those memories from other timelines, hence the whole time loop thing. It's so brilliant the way it's set up. I cannot wait to see where it's going to go. I'm actually kind of hyped now again for another Army of the Dead movie. I'm really getting hyped now, and I know we're in total Rebel Moon mode going in. The whole reason you're doing this, we're getting hyped for Rebel Moon Part 2, but man, I'm getting hyped for another Army of the Dead movie.
well, that's the whole point of Zack Snyder's movies, is that they all hype up each other. It's like how I said about the Cell campaign and Rebel Moon. They hype up each other, and that's the same thing. Is that I'm using Zack's movies to hype up other movies, so that and especially if Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead are in the same universe, then they're going to hype each other up. And I feel the same way. It's like the ending just sets up perfectly for a sequel. So you got Vanderho free now. He's bitten by, he's getting affected. He discovers his bite mark, and now he landed in Mexico City. That ending is just so dark, and he's just laughing the whole time. He's not even like, eh, I don't know. He just doesn't come off as surprised. He sounds like he's
You know
done it.
why? You know why? Because he knows two things. He knows if he dies, he's just going to wake up in another timeline. He knows if he doesn't die, he's going to become the next zombie king, and he's going to rule. So either way, he's fine. That's why he was laughing at the end, because he's been through it. He knows what's going to happen. He died in all those previous timelines, and he remembers all of them. Hence the time loop. If you had that knowledge, knowing full well that you were going to get hit by a bus tomorrow, you knew you were going to get hit by the bus. It was inevitable. You've been having premonitions about it. You knew you were going to hit. You're on your way. You're walking across the street to get a hot dog, and you get hit by a bus and die. But you know that you're going to come back. You're going to be alive, and you're just going to continue living in another timeline. If you knew for a fact that was going to happen, you would fear death less than you do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally agree. And because I think he thought at first that he thought he beat it that time, and then nope. And I love the music that plays when he gets out of that safe, like that song. I don't know how it goes, but it was the perfect song to go with the tone of the tone of that scene.
Yeah.
So
I
I love anything you want to say about the ending in particular that you really like.
um I I liked all of the I like the way it sets up more. I like the fact that it leaves you wanting more. I walk away from the movie feeling very satisfied with what Zach gave us, knowing we're getting more in the future, and knowing that he's setting up this brilliant Snyderverse, this Snyder cinematic universe that's going to be all based around his own IPs. And I thought the ending with Scott being killed, and it was like, you know,
Even better if Kate was killed, but
but see, this is why Kate wasn't killed, because we need Kate to screw up more lives in the future. We need Kate to be a catalyst to piss more people off, and to cause more people to get killed because of her dumb decisions. We need that to continue. That should be a perpetual thing throughout every Army of the Dead sequel. Kate continues to be the cancer that kills everybody. The problem isn't the zombies, okay? Problem isn't even the humans, the greedy humans, the scumbag humans. The problem is Kate. In fact, you could basically call the whole series of movies the Kate verse, because Kate is the only one that matters. Everyone else is all expendable. And it doesn't matter how dumb Kate is, she still manages to continue to snake her way through. And it's just bizarre to me. But hey, I love it. I love that Zach gave us a really interesting bubble-headed female villain. I love that he did this. I love that he did it, because it was long overdue. I mean, we need a female Darth Vader, and that's what we got here.
on that note, I guess any final thoughts, and what would you rate this movie?
Well, what are you rating it out of? What's your scale?
10 out of 10.
Out of 10? I easily Army of the Dead for me gets a 9 out of 10. Easily. I think it's one of the most ambitious movies, and one of the most just straight up balls to the wall Zack Snyder, completely unhinged Zack Snyder. I mean, 9 out of 10 for sure.
And honestly, talk about it with you makes me like it even more. And I give this movie 9.5628398 out of 10. Just seeing Zack Snyder being able to do his own thing, to do his own thing.
And again, this movie didn't need a director's cut. This was the one that was released. This was the one that the studio went with out of the gate.
Yeah. So hopefully this is the method going forward, but we'll see. I mean, if Netflix feels to get more engagement with multiple versions of the film, that's probably what they're going to do. Unfortunately, that's because it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I totally get that, but I just feel like it muddies the waters for a lot of people. I feel like it makes, it complicates things in ways that it doesn't need complicating. Okay, we don't need well, that would be I was going to give an example, but I think that would have been a bad example, so I'm not going to give it. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I understand that, like I've said before many times, I understand the business side of this. I totally do. I totally get that that's why. But at the same time, I feel like we as Zack Snyder fans deserve the compromised true vision of Zack Snyder. I see a lot of parallels between Zack Snyder and Paul Verhoeven, two very, very fantastic directors. And, hey, what can I say? Hey, Showgirls had a director's cut too. Okay, so we're just gonna, we're just gonna leave it there. Basic Instinct had a director's cut too. Starship Troopers had a director's cut. All the great, RoboCop has a director's cut. So, I guess I can't complain too much. Zach is one of those elite God tier movie directors that, his director's cuts are, they speak for themselves, and they are almost, well, I won't even say almost, they are always better than the studio mandated versions.
And hopefully Planet of the Dead will be the director's cut too. So right off the bat. So
oh yeah, Paul Verhoeven, man. Honestly, you gotta understand. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat that Showgirls director's cut. Showgirls director's cut is NC-17, got an NC-17 rating, which is the equivalent of an X rating for a theatrical release. And RoboCop, the director's cut edition, is a lot more gory and even more gory and violent than the R-rated version of RoboCop.
yeah. So at the end of the day, director's cuts are just always the best. And I can't wait to see the director's cuts of Rebel Moons Part 1 and 2. So
yeah,
as we hype up for Rebel Moon Part 2, next week I will be reviewing Guardians of Ga'Hoole with Skywalker the Jedi and the Good Austin. And at some point, ZodWriter and I will do our review of Army of Thieves. So
absolutely.
To clarify, this series is Zack Snyder directed movies with two exceptions: Army of Thieves and 300 Rise of Empire. Because those movies, even though Zack Snyder didn't direct them, I still consider Zack Snyder movies.
Yeah, those have Zack Snyder's prints all over them. So,
yeah. So be on the lookout for that. And actually, Zod and I, we have our first X-Men show with Socks this weekend. We'll review the first 3 episodes of the X-Men cartoon, and we'll go over the trailer. So be on the lookout for that. ZodWriter, what do you have coming up on your channel?
Well, I've got before we do X-Men together, as far as I know, I'm still on schedule for this Thursday night to have my co-host from I Don't Get It, A-Pass, the lovely and amazing A-Pass, join me for a special late night Q&A with ZodWriter. So that should be that should be this Thursday, and then I do the X-Men with you and Socks on the weekend. So I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, I'm hyped up for this X-Men show with you guys. You know, you and I, we've been talking a lot about it behind the scenes, and I'm so excited about it, you know, because it gives me a chance to revisit one of my favorite animated series of all time. This is your first time watching it, you know,
Yep.
and and again, any time I stream with A Pass, it's a good day for me. So I don't have any, I'm at the point where I'm one of the happiest content creators in the world because I get to stream with people that I like all the time. I never have a scenario where I'm bored to death or I'm talking about something I don't care about. I'm always streaming with cool people. So I'm perfectly, I'm perfectly happy, and as far as the way things have been going. So yeah, I mean, it's only going to continue to get better from here, folks.
Lots of great stuff coming up on both channels. So guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes and interesting thoughts.
Papa!
And on that note, have a bat-tastic day.